Welcome to the Game Changer with Dr. Sharalyn, where purpose meets performance and leaders are built to shift legacies. I'm Dr. Sharalyn Payne, executive strategist, speaker, and the secret weapon behind leaders who drive transformation at the highest levels. Each episode delivers bold truths, power skills, and real-world strategies to help you lead with precision, show up with presence, and build the kind of influence that outlasts trends. This is the space where high-impact decisions are born, where influence is intentional, and where the bold don't just lead, they change the game. So if you're ready to rise, ready to lead, and ready to create the kind of impact that moves markets, missions, and minds, you're in the right place. In leadership, it's not the storms that sink you. It's what you didn't reinforce before the storm hit. You don't rise to your level of ambition in crisis. You fall to your level of character. And in today's hyper-transparent world, one misstep, one blind spot, one unethical decision could cost you everything. Here's the thing. Most leaders don't fall because they're evil. They fall because they're blind. Not blind in ability, blind in awareness, blind to the small cracks forming beneath their influence, cracks no one tells them about until the bottom drops out. 85% of stakeholders say they will lose trust in a leader or brand after just one ethics breach. That's by Edelman Trust Barometer. If every email, every closed-door conversation, and every decision you made was leaked tomorrow, would your reputation stand or shatter? If every private decision you made was made public tomorrow, would your influence survive the spotlight? Scandal doesn't start in headlines. It starts in habits, small, unchecked compromises that become culture. Let's talk about the seduction of success and power. Success can lull leaders into false security. Power amplifies your patterns, whether they are healthy or harmful. Here's an insight for you. Entitlement creep is when leaders unconsciously begin to believe they deserve different rules. And the moment you start believing you're above correction, you're already headed for exposure. I'm going to say that one more time. The moment you start believing you're above correction, you're already headed for exposure. Let me give you an example. Elizabeth Holmes and Theranos. The pursuit of greatness without guardrails. So here's a question for you. Are you success sober or success drunk? Who checks you when power starts changing you? When I think about Elizabeth and I think about Theranos and what she wanted to accomplish, she had a powerful, big vision. She had the ability to woo leaders of significance, people of influence, power, and financial means. Yet she saw that what she was doing wasn't quite working. And instead of her checking that and even questioning who she partnered with, she continued down the journey. She was so obsessed with becoming a billionaire, so obsessed with becoming the next Steve Jobs, that she lost her way. And the end of the story, she's in a prison camp, missing out on raising her 2 children. Let's talk about the blind spots that lead to scandal. The 9 blind spots that take leaders down. Each blind spot is both a cultural crack and a leadership vulnerability. Number 1, ethics ignored, entitlement grows. Ethics isn't just about staying out of jail. It's about staying trustworthy. Unchecked success breeds entitlement, and you begin to believe that the rules don't apply to you. We've all seen those leaders who just simply believe that because I have the position, because I sit in the C-suite, because I have the money, because I have the influence, I have the power, I have the ear of the leader, I have the ear of the board, that I can do whatever I want to do, that I'm untouchable. And for those, I would say they're success drunk. So I want you to audit your decision-making code. Would you be proud if everything that you did, all the decisions you make, were made public? I was watching a documentary this past weekend about a former NFL player. He had all eyes, all ears on him, favored. And what we saw with Brett is he got caught up in a scandal to fund his enterprise, his invention, his operation, his business, his daughter's volleyball, gym, stadium, whatever it was, and lost his way. But he had the audacity to ask, could this be tied back to him? Could the media find out about it? So I want you to audit your decision-making code, because Brett knew inherently that if this were what he was doing, with government officials were found out and how they were using dollars, that it would not go well for him. That was his first key, that he was on the wrong path. Number 2, values misaligned and culture fractures. Organizational values are often performative. When the pressure is on, results get rewarded over the right behavior. The team watches, morale drops, and duplicity creeps in. So I want you to ask your team anonymously, what do we really value here? And the key is really, what do we really value here? Because that's the story, right? So if you say that you value honesty, but every time someone raises their hand to be honest, they're blackballed, they're pushed out, they're lied on, they're isolated, then do you value honesty? No, you don't. And the impact of that is creativity and innovation, transformation. Number 3, integrity compromise, credibility collapses. When your words no longer match your behavior, credibility crumbles. This is where scandal begins in the shadows. It's the slow drip of excuses, justifications, and deflections. We see that all the time. A leader says one thing, they do something else, right? Their integrity is compromised. Their behavior and their words don't match. It's kind of like, do as I say, not as I do. Doesn't apply to me. So I want you to identify one area where your actions aren't aligned with your values and correct it now. What do you value? And we asked that in the previous question. And you've got to decide that you will be in alignment and live in alignment and lead in alignment with your values. Number 4, standards lowered, accountability diminishes. You hear this all the time. Just this once is how empires fall. High standards prevent low character moments. When exceptions become the rule, accountability disappears. So your leadership action is to reestablish what is non-negotiable and set your cultural floor. We're not doing it just this once. If it's just this once, it becomes, well, we've done it before. And when it comes, we've done it before, and nobody found out, we've done it before, everything turned out okay, we've done it before, why can't we do it this time? That's how your empire falls. You begin to allow your standards to lower, and while your standards lower, of course, your character does as well. So which of these 4 blind spots hits closest to home for you? Write it down. Because scandal-proof leadership starts with self-awareness. Number 5, feedback withheld, blind spots expand. When your team stops telling you the truth, you're no longer leading, you are assuming. Feedback is your best insurance policy against blind spots. So I want you to build a truth teller circle. And I actually love this, and I do this personally as well as professionally. I have a truth teller circle, 2 or 3 people with full permission to challenge me without retribution. And so they can say whatever it needs to be said to challenge the way I'm thinking, the way I see things, what I'm saying, what I'm doing, because we all have blind spots. But when people don't tell you what you need to hear, and this happens all the time with leaders, people are afraid of telling them the truth, and it leaves them open, and their blind spots get bigger. Your best insurance policy against that is giving the people the right to check you, giving people the right to give you feedback. And what we see, and I remember watching the Michael Jackson documentary, as well as the Janet Jackson documentary, and they talked about how he didn't want people around him who would tell him the truth. We see it all the time. You need people who love you enough, who care about you and your leadership, your legacy enough to tell you the truth. Number 6, transparency avoided, assumptions take over. When transparency is avoided, then assumptions take over. Silence invites suspicion. When people don't know your intentions, they assume your motivations. Transparency doesn't mean sharing everything, but it does mean sharing enough. So share the why behind key decisions. Give people a window into your values. When you don't share the why, you leave it to them to create a story that's not necessarily true. And that story, even though it's not true, can lead people to digging. And when people start digging, they may not find that, but they could find something else. And maybe that something else is something that you weren't even aware of as a leader, and perhaps you've not even engaged in, but it still could lead to a scandal. Number 7, accountability dismissed, trust deteriorates. When accountability is dismissed, trust deteriorates. If your team sees you dodge responsibility, they learn it's okay to do the same. Scandals multiply when no one feels responsible, including the leader. So what can you do? Publicly own a past misstep. Model responsibility as well as accountability. Hold yourself and others accountable as well as responsible. I like how, I believe it was not too long ago, Nike laid off some people, and they just came clean with it, right? We hate that we're having to do this. We're having to lay people off. It's because of me and my leadership team's responsibility, our accountability. We take full responsibility and accountability for the state of the organization and what's happening. Own it. Own it. There's nothing worse than working in an environment where there is no responsibility and no accountability, because it leads to a toxic, mediocre workplace. Impact ignored, legacy undermined. Leaders who think only in quarters and not generations leave damage behind. You see, you're not just making decisions, you're shaping culture, families, and futures. What you do matters. It matters for the organization, for its customers, for the people who work with you and their families, their lifestyles, what they're exposed to, where the children go to school, where they live, their safety. What you do as a leader matters. And it absolutely has impact, and it determines legacy. So you're asking yourself, what will this decision create in 5 years? Or what will this destroy? Powerful question. What will this decision create in 5 years, or what will it destroy? Number 9, listening lacking. When listening is lacking, when you fail to listen, or you don't listen well enough, then relevance is lost. So you stop listening and you stop leading. Listening is the leadership skill that keeps you connected, credible, and evolving. People are giving you free information. If you take it, you can win, you can thrive. and you can avoid some things. Fail to listen and you leave yourself open, disconnected, and your credibility is at stake. Not to mention, you fail to evolve because you're not getting the information that you need to hear. So I want you to track how often feedback leads to change. Let people see their voice has impact. Share with them, because you said this, I did da 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 da. Because you did this, you gave me this feedback. Here's what we were able to do. Here's what I've been able to do. Here's how it's impacted me personally. Let's go behind closed doors. Years ago, I worked with a C-suite executive, brilliant, charismatic, publicly beloved, and internally feared. No feedback channels, no accountability, no listening culture. Eventually, one of their decisions imploded. The scandal didn't just start there. Let's be clear. It started years before when they stopped listening, started assuming, became full of themselves, felt like they had the ability to do whatever it is they wanted to do, allowed ego to get in the way. The fall wasn't just personal, it was cultural, and it was preventable. The person didn't have to end up in the place where he was. It was a downfall that most didn't see coming. But as an executive coach, as a strategist, as a person who has spent a number of years in org performance and org transformation, it was evident that it was going to happen, especially with the new leadership change. And that scandal that hit, he is still trying to recover from. And it has had an impact on his career, where he's been able to go, what he's been able to do, how people perceive him. And every now and then it comes back up. And it didn't have to be this way. And here's the thing, I'm not so sure that he's truly learned the lesson. Let's talk about the scandal-proof system, your leadership firewall. Ethics as a daily discipline. I want you to build ethical reflexes, not just ethical principles. Normalize values-based decision-making in non-crisis moments. Don't just have values on the wall, put them in the room. Put them in the room, talk about them. Bring it up. Call people out on it. Live it. Make it your own. Create a culture of accountability and feedback. Own your mistakes publicly to model psychological safety. And reward those who tell the truth in ethical dissent, not just performance. Reward people for being honest. Reward people for not agreeing with things that we know no one should be agreeing to. For sticking up for what's right, standing up for what's right, for what matters. We've got to move beyond just people who do their jobs and people who are afraid of the leader, who fear what will happen, for speaking up or speaking out, and give voice. For people to have a psychologically safe environment where they can show up and they can share what needs to be said well before the scandal hits. So I want you to implement the scandal-proof decision framework. I'm going to walk you through this. Before every major decision, you're asking questions, 5 key questions. Is it legal? Is it ethical? Would I be proud if this was made public? Does this align with the legacy I want to leave? Am I leading from pressure or from principle? If the answer isn't a clear yes, the decision isn't ready. And then I want you to run crisis simulations. This is the game changer. If this decision leaked today, how would my employees respond? How would the media twist it? That's what you're asking yourself. If this decision leaked today, how would my employees respond? How would the media twist it? I want you to practice integrity drills, just like fire drills. Let's talk about the real cost of scandal and why you must care. Reputation damage costs organizations up to 25% of market value post-scandal, according to Harvard Business Review. 25% of market value post-scandal. Wow. CEOs involved in ethics scandals face a 97% chance of being ousted within 12 months. 97% chance of being ousted within 12 months. What's the human cost? Depending upon what it is, you may see marriages dissolve, health suffers, teams lose faith and hope, and communities lose trust. You can build revenue. You can't rebuild integrity once it's shattered. That's something to think about. Your integrity should mean everything to you. You can make money, but once your integrity has taken a hit, can you recover? Legacy-driven leadership. Let's talk about the power of living scandal-proof. I want you to begin to shift from image to impact. So many leaders are so caught up in their image, how they're perceived. But live your leadership in reverse. What will they say when you're gone? Not necessarily what they will say when you're deceased, but just when you leave the organization. When you're no longer doing whatever it is that you're doing, what will they say? Because they're going to talk. And it can either be good or it can either be bad. They can speak about the positive things you've done and who you were, what you've shaped, how you've helped, or it could be something else. I want you to build with vision. Your decisions impact people you'll never meet, customers, employees, families, future generations. And then I want you to create a listening culture. Become immune to scandal. Foster environments where truth rises, not rots. People need to feel safe telling you the truth more than they fear the consequences of silence. The strongest leaders are not the ones who never make mistakes. They're the ones who create cultures where mistakes don't become scandals. We are all going to make mistakes. We can't avoid it. It's evident. It's going to happen. And it's going to be clear for people to see sometimes the mistakes that we've made. It's going to be clear for us to see it. Again, it's evident. It's going to happen. But we need to create cultures where mistakes don't become scandals. You don't scandal-proof your legacy with PR. You do it with people, principles, and practices that don't change when pressure hits. So work to protect your legacy before you have to defend it, because once a scandal shows up, it's too late to build the character required to survive it. Influence without integrity is just manipulation, and manipulation always, always, always implodes. You don't lead like everyone else, so your resources shouldn't look like everyone else's. Welcome to the Game Changers Leadership Collection for maximizing performance, potential, and profitability. This leadership collection features best practices, insights, and frameworks from my executive level work with high impact leaders across industries. It's designed to equip you with the clarity, tools, and strategic language needed to lead with credibility under pressure. Let's be clear. In high stakes rooms, executive presence isn't optional, it's mission critical. That's why I created the Executive Briefing Companion, your strategic script for navigating leadership's most defining moments. Whether you're in the boardroom, in front of the C-suite, or facing complex stakeholder dynamics, this tool helps you rise above the noise and lead with clarity, courage, and command. At its core is the 9 executive questions framework, a high-impact structure that ensures your message cuts through uncertainty, aligns your audience, and positions you as the credible voice in the room. Think of this as your strategic battle card, the leadership intelligence you carry into the room that tests you most. Also included is the language of influence, your cheat sheet for persuasive, purposeful communication. These phrases and framing techniques are drawn from high-stakes boardrooms, top-tier executive coaching, and transformational leadership practices. Use this tool to strengthen your executive presence, navigate tension with calm authority, drive clarity, buy-in, and high-stakes alignment, and speak with power without overpowering. You'll also get a preview of the 10 daily power skills, the high-performance behaviors that fuel the world's most impactful leaders, creatives, activists, entrepreneurs, and change makers. These are not soft skills. They are strategic habits that create undeniable outcomes. You'll be able to self-assess with the high-impact leadership scorecard, find your edge, close your gaps, activate your next level. And to ground your leadership in inspiration and intention, you'll receive the power of one poster, a visual reminder that one decision, one conversation, or one action can shift everything. Finally, I'm giving you access to my mini course, 7 leadership blind spots that are secretly sabotaging your culture and success, and how to eliminate them for good. Every tool in this collection is designed to elevate how you think, speak, and lead, because game changers don't follow trends, they set standards. Download the Game Changers Leadership Collection now. It's free, it's powerful, and it's built for leaders like you. I'm Dr. Sharalyn Payne, and this is your Leadership Edge. Thank you for joining me on The Game Changer with Dr. Sharalyn, where we don't follow trends, we set them, and we don't just lead teams, we shift legacies. If today's message challenged, stretched, or inspired you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it, tag it, lead through it. Because real leaders don't just consume wisdom, they multiply it. Want to go deeper? Subscribe to the Ultra Influential newsletter for exclusive tools, behind-the-scenes strategy, and weekly mindset shifts for the leader ready to move nations, markets, and minds. Visit www.smpistrategies.com or send a note to leadership@smpistrategies.com. And if you're ready for next level coaching or consulting that positions you as the right leader at the right time in the right place, let's talk. This is what we do, and we do it with precision, power, and purpose. Remember, change isn't just something you lead, it's something you become. Stay bold, stay brilliant, stay a game changer.